Welcome to Eastern Illinois University. Today, the 2000 IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships from O'Brien Stadium. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Blaney, along with four-time IHSA champion Lisa Ferry. Lisa, first of all, we've got something odd for Charleston in May. We've got a cool day. It's overcast. The key thing, the wind isn't blowing. It's actually a very good day for a track meet here today.
Yes, it is. We hope the weather stays and the sun comes out, and we'll have a great competition today.
Now, it was 2 years ago today that we stood on this very spot, and Lisa told us about a young lady from Homewood Flossmoor named Adia McKinnon. Well, she's a senior now, and she has a chance at not only winning 3 events individually and possibly being in a couple of relays as well, but also setting state records and maybe carrying her team to a state championship.
Well, like I told you 2 years ago, Jim, I think Adia is a great athlete. Many times the younger athletes don't reach their potential or the expectations. I believe Adia's done that. I don't think it's a question of whether she's going to win those 3 events in the relay today, but how many records will fall.
Now, for those of you who know the rules, you know Adia McKinnon can only run in 4 events. She's listed on the roster for both the 800-meter medley and the 400 relay as well, but she will likely run the 800-meter medley relay, which, by the way, will be the first event. Now, if Adia McKinnon can have a big day, she has a chance at maybe lifting Homewood Flossmoor to a state title all by herself, but Morgan Park qualified a ton of people out of the prelims, and they have to be considered the favorites.
Morgan Park's going to be tough to beat. They're in all the relays and several individual events, and Adia may be able to do it by herself and her relay team, but it'll be tough.
Thornwood and Evanston Township also have a nice mix of individuals and relay event competitors, so they also have a shot at winning the state championship this year. In the single A event, we have got a lot of familiar faces, and we've also got some teams that have qualified a lot of people for the finals. St. Joe Ogden, 10 qualifiers in the finals. They're the odds-on favorite in A.
They've got 5 relays and 5 individuals, but watch out for Erie. They're a co-op, and they could sneak in there.
So in single A, we not only have the teams that you saw, but we also have a lot of familiar faces back from last year, especially in the running events.
In A, we've got 7 returning state champions of 13 in the running events, so it's going to be a great day.
And also we have field events to cover as well, and with a preview of what's happening in the field events, here's Bob Lanigan.
Jim and Lisa down here in the field events, a very familiar story, at least in Class AA. Ariane Leshevsky of Morris has stood atop the medal stand in both the shot put and the discus the last 2 years running, and unfortunately for her competition, she's performing better than ever. You know, Michael Scotty and Phil Jackson made three-peating a popular thing on our channel back in the 90s, and here in the year 2000, it looks like Leshevsky is on her way to repeating that feat. In Class Single A, Jody Rendon appears to be a lock in the shot put. The young lady from Stockton looking dynamite and leading all qualifiers. The triple jump, the long jump, and the high jump wide open in both, except in the triple jump. Sarah Schmidt of St. Joe Ogden, the #1 qualifier. Watch for her to try and bring home the gold. She's just a sophomore with a very bright future.
Could be a big day for St. Joe Ogden and also a big day for Adia McKinnon and Morgan Park. We'll see how it all unfolds when we come back after this timeout. Our first event will be the 800 medley relay. Welcome back to Eastern Illinois University, the 2000 IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. Jim Blaney along with Lisa Ferry, and we're just about set for our first event. This is the Class A 800-meter medley relay.
Lane placement in this event is very important. It's good to get a good time out of the prelims. This is the only event that's seeded first lane out.
Lane 1 is Heritage Co-op, Lane 2 Eureka, Lane 3 Illinois Valley Central, Rock Ridge in Lane 4, Harrisburg 5, St. Joe Ogden in 6. Remember, they are in line for a team title if they can get points in almost everything they're in, because they have 10 people who have qualified for the finals. Olympia in 7, Robinson the defending champs in 8, and Stockton Co-op in Lane 9. But here's the thing. Broadland's in Lane 1, and running the opening heat for them is Angela Thomason, a junior. They had a prelim time yesterday of nearly a second better than everybody else. And now Thomason will hand off to Meredith McGee. 100 meters, 100 meters, then a 200-meter leg, and then the anchor person runs 400 meters. The exchange is by everybody nearly simultaneously. And here we come around the turn, heading for the final 400-meter leg. In the lead as they make the turn and head up the straightaway, Lane 5, that's Harrisburg in first place and running well. And carrying the baton for Harrisburg is Chelsea DeVillas. She's a freshman. And she'll hand off to Casey Pilcher. She'll take the lead and she'll head for the pole. St. Joe's Ogden now has moved into front as Pilcher takes the lead. But she's making up ground. She is running in third place right now. Stanford Olympia taking the lead. That's Gina Rollins. You'll also see her in some individual events a little bit later on. So it's Rollins of Olympia who is running first right now. St. Joe Ogden running in second, and then running in third is Heritage Co-op. Funny feeling we're going to see three runners running across the track as we make the turn. Whitney McComas from Heritage making a push, but can she close the gap? Rollins is carrying the baton. She is in first. She looks like she'll finish off in first place as well. So Rollins from Stanford Olympia crosses first, Broadland second, and St. Joe Ogden's third. So St. Joe Ogden, Lisa, getting off to a great start as they try and win a team title, taking third here in the 800-meter medley relay. And a fantastic anchor leg by Gina Rollins, because she took the baton with her team back in the pack and very, very quickly got out there and hunted down the leader and took the lead and brought it home. Let's take a look at the field for the AA 800-meter medley relay. And as you take a look at the field for Class A once again, and again the winner in this event, Stanford Olympia, followed by Heritage Co-op, and then St. Joe Ogden finishing third. 800-meter medley relay, HF, they will be in lane number 1. We will see Adia McKinnon run for the first time in this event. And remember, Morgan Park, they are the favorites to win the team title. They will make their first appearance. They will be in lane 3. Evanston Township, they also have a shot at this thing. They will be in lane 6. So we get our first look on the track at Adia McKinnon and the HF Vikings. Adia McKinnon will run leg number 3, the 200-meter leg. And leading off for Homewood Flossmoor will be Latrice Ivy, a senior.
Last year Adia ran the anchor leg, the 400, but I believe that they're saving her to try to break some records today, so they're only having her run the 200.
Looking at the prelim times, Proviso West, they'll be in lane 2. They were just about 15/100ths of a second behind HF as far as qualifying times are concerned. Morgan Park running in lane number 3. So, as is the case in this race, it's usually the 3 teams on the inside that are the ones you're looking for, but it's very, very tight between those 3. Looked like a little bit of a slow start for Latrice Ivy. Got out of the blocks very, very slowly, while Lola Anababa from Proviso West got out very quickly. She's already made up the stagger on Robin Owens of Morgan Park. And the first exchange made, and it looked like Morgan Park cleanly caught up a couple of strides in the back stretch, but didn't quite get there. Proviso West leading going into the exchange. Adia McKinnon, her first action of this meet. She's in lane 1.
There she goes.
And she is making up ground quickly.
She's made up all the staggers and then some.
And she is just blowing down the track as she makes the turn and comes down the front straightaway. She has a lead of about 10 yards in the entire field.
And the anchor leg for Homewood Flossmoor is a very good quarter miler, so she should give it to her in pretty good shape, and HF should bring it home.
Diane Anderson takes the baton. She will run 400 meters in trying to get the HF Vikings off to a quick start in this 2000 IHSA Girls Track and Field meet. And right now the Vikings, they are running away with this 800-meter medley relay. It is simply unbelievable right now what the Vikings are doing in this first event, the AA meet. Anderson now has opened up about a 20-meter lead in the backstretch.
That IHSA record is 142.4. We might be having a shot at that today.
That was set by South Shore, although it does look a little bit like Anderson is giving some back to the field. We've got a big battle going in second place right now with 4 schools competing, but we'll keep trained on Diane Anderson of HF as she brings a baton down the front straightaway. Morgan Park running second right now. Proviso West is fourth. And boy, she got slow across the finish line, ends up in 1:45. But what a performance by HF in this opening 800-meter medley relay. Morgan Park finishes second.
A great race. HF tended to run out a little steam there at the end. Diane Anderson's only a freshman. What a great, strong 400 leg.
And really, if you look back on that race, Lisa, it was all that leg that was run by Adia McKinnon that made all the difference, because she took the baton and she was third, and she ended up first by a long margin by the time she passed it off.
She gave him about a 60, 70-meter lead there, and Diane Anderson then had to hold on for the victory.
You know, do you think she was holding on, or do you think she was saving something for later? Because she really seemed like she started to back off it a little bit.
You know, I thought they were going to try to go for a record, but she may be saving it. I'm not sure what other events Diane's in today.
Okay, so that is the 800-meter medley relay. It is time now for the 3,200-meter relay for Class A. Timothy KRISTEN from Elmhurst, they had the best time in the prelims, but the team to watch might be Teutopolis. Running out of the second lane, they are the defending champions. And then outside of the track farther, you have Wheaton St. Francis and Monmouth Co-op and St. Joe Ogden's. They picked up points in the opening event. They'll try and pick up more here in the 3,200-meter relay.
Erie Co-op's also in this race, and they will be fighting for a team title.
Distance races today, we are going to see a lot of young ladies who are making their final appearances in the IHSA Track and Field Championships. Katie Labracki of Woodstock, Marion. We've seen her at the cross-country championships the last couple of years, and she was the athlete who was chosen to speak on behalf of the athletes in the opening ceremonies today. She is on her way to Northwestern once she graduates in a couple of weeks. The weather today, well, you know what? It's a little cool, but it's not bad, mainly because the wind is down. Just a wisp of a breeze blowing around, the temperature about 50 degrees. If it warms up about 5 or 6 degrees and the wind stays down, it would be absolutely dead solid perfect. But it's not bad today.
A little sunshine would help too.
Timothy KRISTEN with the best qualifying time in this event, but as you get a good look at Katie Labracki, to her left is Amy Roberts of St. Joseph Ogden, and her team is already off to a great start. They have 2 thirds and a first. Third in a relay and a first and a third in the field events, so the Spartans are off to a great start. Now if you're from Chicago Heights, you read that and say, Marion Spartans, but that is Marion Central and St. Joseph Ogden. You didn't think that was funny, did you, Lisa?
No, I didn't.
I'm trying here. You're not helping me out at all.
Erie's also in this race, and they should be vying for a trophy at the team level as well.
Top 4 qualifying times were turned in by Timothy KRISTEN, Teutopolis, the defending champions, Wheaton St. Francis, and St. Joseph Ogden. So let's see how Katie Labracki decides to run the 800-meter leg, the opening leg of this 3,200-meter relay, because she has other events coming up later on today. And remember, this is her last appearance on this stage as one of the best distance runners that this state has turned out in a long, long time.
And the thing about the 3,200-meter relay is you really can't hide anybody. You have to have strong dynamic runners at every leg. So the strategy of placing the runners is very important, whether you want to go with your strongest first or your strongest last, but you still have to have good in between.
9:30.98 is the Class A record in this event, set all the way back in 1986 by KYNA. It's almost going back to when I was in high school.
Exactly, so you know that's an old record.
It's a long time for a record to stand in this state track and field meet. 4 legs of 800 meters each. And Teutopolis, the defending champions, Meredith Dieter's carrying the baton in the opening leg, and she has the lead. Running second right now for Wheaton St. Francis is Molly Hogan. Molly Hogan looks like she's pretty well just settled into that second spot, keeping the lead right in front of her, knowing exactly where everybody is at. And Amber Stratton running the opening leg for Timothy KRISTEN. She is running in third, and Katie Labracki running fourth right off the shoulder of Stratton.
Each runner runs 2 laps in this race, or 800 meters.
And Teutopolis continues to lead Running the second leg to Teutopolis will be Jessica Nybrugge, another senior.
The bunched up pack is starting to spread out a little bit, but we're really getting a distance between second and third.
By schools, Teutopolis running first, Wheaton St. Francis second, Timothy Christian is third, and still running in fourth is Katie Labracki for Marion Central, and then St. Joseph Ogden is running fifth. So all the big guns right now running about where they are. Labracki has just been passed, so St. Joseph Ogden right now running in fourth. Coming down the front straightaway for the first exchange and putting on just a little bit of a kick as she comes down the straight is Molly Hogan.
She's given Meredith Dieters everything she can ask for.
Hogan is going to make the exchange first. She hands off to Kristen Newton. And Newton starts to try and leg it out as she takes the exchange. And running second, right, check that, for Wheaton St. Francis, Newton is running second. For Teutopolis running second is Jessica Nybrugge. And she looks like she wants to get right back up in the lead as she tries to take the lead coming off the corner.
She wants it back, and she took it.
Well, she is really pressing the pace here in the early going of this leg and trying to get back a little bit of a lead that her teammate lost in the final 100 meters of the opening leg.
Jessica Nybrugge has come out very quick for this opening lap of her 800. She looks pretty strong, though, as she's coming around the curve. 200
meters into the second leg. Here are your leaders by school. Teutopolis running first, Wheaton St. Francis second, Timothy Christian third, St. Joseph Ogden fourth, and Marion Central right now running in fifth.
That's Tracy Affman running for Timothy Christian in third right now. She's getting challenged, though, by St. Joe Ogden.
I do have to say, though, that coming down the front straightaway as she comes halfway into her leg, Nybrugge is looking in control. She looks very, very good at this stage.
Jill Carey of St. Joe Ogden is now past Timothy Christian.
Halfway through leg number 2. Our time, 3.5 minutes.
The field is really spreading out now. We're getting quite a distance between all of the places. Fourth to fifth is really beginning to be a gap.
Running the third leg for St. Joseph Ogden is Lindsay Clare. She has moved into third place, and she's dragging along with her Ashley Jongsma of Timothy Christian. So Timothy Christian now running fourth, St. Joseph Ogden running third, and the field is starting to compress a little bit. All of a sudden, we have a race in the back stretch. And as we hit the halfway mark through this lap, still running in first, Teutopolis. Second, Wheaton St. Francis. Third, St. Joseph Ogden. Fourth, Timothy Christian. But we now have a race between the top 4 schools.
We've got top 4 are all challenging at this point.
Kristen Newton of Wheaton St. Francis has done the same thing that her teammate Molly Hogan did in the opening leg. That is, take the lead down the final 100 meters, and she will hand off the baton first. Katie Hanley is going to run leg number 3 for Wheaton St. Francis. Taking the baton for Teutopolis is Beth Schumacher, a freshman.
St. Joe Ogden's third runner is Lindsay Clare, a freshman.
And Lindsay Clare right now is trying to press the pace a little bit and move up into second place.
Timothy Christian's Ashley Jongsma is currently running fourth right now. She's only a sophomore. We've got a pretty young field out here in the 3,200 meter relay.
But you know what? Ashley Youngsma's in pretty good shape. She's closed the gap down to about 10 meters or so between her and the lead. And this is turning into a very good race. We're about to cross 200 meters here on the first lap of leg number 3. Teutopolis running first, and Wheaton St. Francis second. St. Joseph Ogden is third. Timothy Christian fourth.
Looks like Lindsay Clare of St. Joe Ogden's making her move. She won second right now.
And Erie Co-op now, they've moved into 5th place. That's Natalie McClain, a junior, running leg number 3 for them.
At this point, this is anybody's race. We've got a field that's pretty bunched together for the first 6 or 7 runners.
And really, if you're any of the runners out there right now, you just want to make sure that you're within striking distance when you hand off the baton to your anchor person. And right now, we've got a 6-team race. Everybody is still in this thing.
This final lap of the third leg will tell, though, because they're going to start hitting a little wall as they come around the curve, and we'll see some of them fade or be able to push through.
Beth Schumacher, a freshman, continues to hold the lead.
Doesn't look like for long, though. Lindsay Clare sure putting some pressure on her from behind from St. Joe Ogden.
If Lindsay Clare can take the lead, this will be the first time that St. Joseph Ogden will have had the lead in this event. They were as far back as 5th at one point, and Claire's decided to tuck herself right back in there on the shoulder of the leader, and will probably at least run there throughout this last curve.
She's running on Beth Schumacher's heels, that's for sure.
Schumacher and Claire running shoulder to shoulder around the turn. They're about to make that last part of the turn and head down the straightaway toward the anchor leg.
I'm surprised Lindsay Clare is passing her on the curve. That takes so much more energy to fight somebody off around a curve.
Well, I'm surprised she ran out there the whole curve, Lisa, but she's running shoulder to shoulder right now. Schumacher trying to hold on. She wants to make the handoff first. Lindsay Gruhl, a sophomore. She'll run the anchor leg for Teutopolis and running the anchor leg for St. Joseph Ogden.
Oh, T-Town dropped the baton. Oh, that's devastating for them. They had led most of the race.
One of those things where they wanted to make sure they got the handoff made quickly, and they didn't make it cleanly.
They wanted to hand off first, and they dropped the baton. We'll see what Lindsay Gruhl of T-Town can do with that lead that they got lost.
Well, Kristen Chandler and her teammates from St. Joseph Ogden have gotten a break, and Chandler's taken advantage of it. She's opened up about a 15-meter lead in the back stretch.
Not only is it physical that T-Town has to overcome, now the mental aspect of just dropping the baton and losing your concentration is a tough thing to overcome, but boy, is she staying in the race.
Lindsay Gruhl is trying to make up ground, but she's not having a whole lot of success on making anything up on Kristen Chandler. Chandler makes the turn to come down the front straightaway, and she has the lead. 500 meters to go. I'll tell you what, Gruhl is absolutely running her heart out. I don't think she's going to have enough time, but there are 400 meters to go. St. Joseph Ogden, they cross first as we head to the final lap. Teutopolis second.
We've got a battle for third. Timothy Christian's in there. It looks like Erie Co-op's in there.
Chandler continues to lead. Gruhl is running hard, but she's made up virtually no ground this entire last lap. That is Bureau Valley right now running in third. So first through 5th right now. First place St. Joseph Ogden. Second, Teutopolis. Running third is Bureau Valley. 4th, Timothy Christian. And in 5th place is Erie Co-op.
Remember, both Erie and St. Joe Ogden are in the running for a team trophy, so they want points.
And this would be a huge addition to already a first and 2/3 for St. Joseph Ogden so far in the events that have already been completed. Now, Chandler looks like she might be tying up just a little bit.
I think Lindsay Gruhl might have a shot at her. Coming around the curve, she's gaining ground.
Lindsay Gruhl is gaining ground, but is she going to have
she's throwing it into kick.
Chandler.
Here we go.
10 meters to make up in the final 90.
Oh, she's giving it everything she's got, Jim. She is working hard.
She's closing ground. Is she going to have enough time? The margin down to about 5 meters, and that's going to be it. St. Joseph Ogden first, Teutopolis second. Bureau Valley is going to finish third, Timothy Christian 4th, and Erie Co-op finishes 5th.
What heart Lindsay Gruhl from Teutopolis showed, though, just a sophomore, and she ran her heart out. If there would have been about 10 more yards, Jim, I think she would have caught her.
It's really a shame that the shoes dropped the baton, making the exchange, because who knows what kind of a race we might have had going into that final lap. You have to give a big pat on the back to Kristen Chandler, but here's where the race was decided.
Oh, you see there, she just, the final runner, Lindsay Gruhl for T-Town, just took her eye off of it. She wanted to get the good jump and just missed the baton.
What, it's heartbreaking.
That's awesome.
It's heartbreaking, it really is, but you know what? When you see effort like that by Lindsay Gruhl, it's really marvelous, and congratulations to the girls from St. Joseph Ogden, because they're off to a marvelous start as they try to win a state track and field championship. For an update on what's going on in the field events, here's Bob Lanigan.
Jim and Lisa, our first field event is the shot put, and in Class A we have a great rivalry building between Jody Rendon of Stockton and Sarah McKay of Byron. Now, this isn't the animosity that, say, the Bears and Packers produce. In fact, these two rivals actually are friends that help each other out. Stockton and Byron high schools are relatively close to each other. In fact, these two young ladies compete in the same sectional and go to the same track camps over the summer. On top of that, Rendon finished first last year, capturing the gold medal as a junior, while McKay was second as a sophomore. Watch these two go at it in the shot put. The battle between Rendon and McKay got a little more interesting when Megan Bird of Huntley burst onto the scene with a put of 41 6.5. That was good enough to bump McKay to third, but not enough to dethrone the defending champion. Rendon's put of 42 7.5 gave her back-to-back Class A titles and a fairy tale ending to her high school career.
You know, because it is my last year, and you know, it's just my dream to be here in general, and you know, to win it is just amazing to me. It's 2 times.
Jody is off to compete for the SIU Salukis next season. Look for Bird and McKay to return in 2001. In Class AA, Adrienne Leshevsky of Morris came very close to establishing a new state record. Nonetheless, a three-peat in the shot and a 5th career gold medal.
I'm a little upset that I didn't get the record. You know, I wanted to get that, but I mean, I'm happy that I threw the way I did, and it's just a lot of pressure off of me because it was hard. Coming in here, I knew that everybody was going to be after me and everything, so this is nice.
Jim and Lisa will be back with more from the IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships after this short break.
Back on the track now for the 3,200-meter relay in AA, and if it is anything like that single A race, we are in for something. And you know what? It very well could be, because the prelim times for the teams in this event were all very, very close. Wheaton North posting the best prelim time of 9:24.75. That was only a couple of seconds better than the next best team in their own preliminary heat, which was Champaign Centennial. And then Palatine also turned in a very good time in their prelim, and it's sometimes very, very difficult to compare prelim heat times because the heats can be so different. So I really see this, Lisa, as a pretty wide open race.
And it's nice to see a downstate challenger in there with Champaign Centennial. This typically, distance events tend to go to the northern schools in AA, so we've got a downstater in there. We hope they do well.
9:14.03 is the AA state record in this event, and big surprise, it's held by the Duchesses of York. And next week we'll be back here for the boys track and field championship, and it ought to be interesting because the boys team from York, they have all sorts of great distance runners, and it should be a battle between them and the Spurs from Thornwood. But that's for next week. Right now, it is the girls AA 3,200-meter relay. Running for Wheaton North in lane number 1 is Lucretia Akins, a senior. And she has Rachel Ingris on her team, who will run leg number 3. That's a name you'll recognize from the state cross-country championships. But this race should be tight. It should be very competitive. This thing may not be sorted out until the final 100 meters.
I think we'll see the pack stay together quite a while in this one. All the prelim times, as you said, are very close together. So we're going to see a tight race all the way through the end.
Running in the lead right now is Abby Gerlestis. She's a junior from Wheaton-Warrenville South. And you have a lot of DuPage Valley teams in here and teams from the western suburbs of Chicago. So you've got a lot of runners who have seen a lot of each other during the course of the year.
Palatine's currently running second with Diane Ainsley. And she just took the lead.
Ainsley running first, Gerlestis running second, but apparently not for long.
Look at that pack, Jim. Nobody has spread out from that pack.
It is very, very tight as they head around after completing their first lap in the 3,200-meter relay. Get out, run now!
It looks like they're pretty comfortable just sitting in, too. Nobody's really wanting to be very aggressive and go after it, although the girl from Palatine, Diane Ainsley, is starting to separate herself from the pack.
Ainsley is a junior, and she is running out in front by about 7 meters or so right now. When it comes time for Ainsley to hand off, she will hand off to Liz Wojciak, which is another junior.
I would guess that we may have all clean handoffs in this race. After the AA kids were watching the A race, you know they're going to put extra attention to the handoffs.
How about this for the Palatine Pirates? They start off with 2 juniors in this event, and then taking the baton third is a sophomore, and then running the anchor leg will be Shane Evans, and she's a freshman. So they go down in class as they hand off the batons. Glenbard East is going to
What a strong finish for Carly Evans from Glenbard East.
Handing off to another sophomore, Nicole Feast, but taking the lead back right away as she heads around that turn is Wojciech from Palatine. So Palatine running first, Glenbard East is running second. And it's, you know what, this is about as tight as I've seen a pack going down that back straightaway. Time, in case you're wondering, 2:52 as we are about 600 meters into this event. By the way, the defending champions from this one, a few events today we're going to see where the defending champion is not in the event. We have a new champion in the 3,200 meter relay in AA this year. Palatine number 1, Glenbard East number 2. Niles West running number 3 as they cross the midway point of leg number 2. Wojciech continues to hold the lead for Palatine. And Nicole Feast from Glenbard East continues to be content just to run right there in second place.
Niles West, Shizuko Riviera, or Stephanie Burak, looks like she's challenging.
And Niles West, a little bit of a surprise. I have to admit that they're running third right now, but as we mentioned, all the preliminary times, they were pretty tight within a couple of the seconds of each other, especially within their own heats. And that is why we call this a wide open race. And right now making a challenge on that back straightaway is Stephanie Burak from Niles West. She's going to try and slip into the lead right before they go around the curve, and she did. That was a good piece of running.
That was a great piece of running. Strategically, she passed at the right time. She's not wasting all that energy trying to fight around the curve.
Niles West, Palatine, Glenbard East. 1, 2, 3 as we come down to the final 100 meters of leg number 2 in the 3,200 meter relay here in AA.
Glenbard East isn't happy with third. She wants to hand off the baton sooner than that. She's going to fight off. It looks like she's fighting off the Niles West.
Lauren Brasio, a sophomore. She'll take the baton for Palatine. And taking the baton for Glenbard East is Vanessa Menz, a sophomore.
And those handoffs were very deliberate. They made sure they had those batons in their hand before they took off.
So let's reset them 1, 2, 3 now for you as they head to the back stretch. Running first Palatine, second is Niles West, and third Glenbard East. With Hinsdale Central right now running in fourth.
Currently, Palatine's Lauren Brosio is in the lead.
Mirandi Gunawardine, a senior from Hinsdale Central, what she's trying to do is one thing, is just get back up to that lead pack so that by the time the Red Devils hand off for their final leg, that they're in the fight. And right now it looks like it's separated into a 4-school race. Down the front straightaway they run single file. Palatine, Glenbard East, Niles West, and Hinsdale Central. Wheaton North running fifth right now. You know what, and again, the field has really compressed over the course of the last 100 meters, where it looked like a moment ago it was a 3 and maybe a 4-team race. Now all of a sudden it's a 5-team race, and there's another group of about 4 runners who might be able to join the lead pack with a strong second lap on their third leg.
We could have 9 schools in the finals there at the end, coming down the straightaway.
We're having a little shake up on the leaderboard on the back straightaway as Vanessa Menz, the sophomore from Glenbard East, assumes the lead. And we have a pack of 5 runners along the back straightaway trying to sort this thing out. 500 meters to go. Everybody's settling into their spot. Now watch what happens here as they come off the turn. They're all set up for what they want to do. And they're going to want to try and shotgun themselves off that final turn. And the best position out of everybody to make a move is Wheaton North's Rachel Endress. She moved out wide of the track. Endress trying to close the kick. She will try and hand off first. Endress is going to hand off to a freshman, Samantha Powell. Palatine looked like they made their exchange first. Running the ankle leg for the Pirates, the freshman, Shane Evans.
They're all shoulder to shoulder.
Shane Evans running for Palatine. Samantha Pollock running for Wheaton North. 2 freshmen anchoring for their schools here in the last leg. But now they've slipped back into the middle of a pack.
And Jim, how many lead changes have we had through the course of this race?
We have seen a ton, and leading right now for Glenbard East as they head down the back stretch is Nicola Hooper, a senior. One of the few experienced runners we have out there on the track right now. And Niles West is still in it. Carolyn Ayler, a junior, is running the Anchor Lake for them.
We'll see if that experience pays off.
My goodness, what a tight group this is. They come around to pick up 500 meters to go in the 3,200 meter relay in AA. Right now it's a chess match.
And here comes that second pack too. They're closing in.
Niles West, Wheaton North, Palatine, Glenbard East, Hinsdale Central. Those are your top 5. And Wheaton-Warrenville South running in 6th. We get the gun for the final lap. Nicola Hooper of Glenbard East, she continues to lead, but on her shoulder is Samantha Pollock, the freshman from Wheaton North. And she is making her move. She's going to slingshot and try and move into the lead once we get onto the back straightaway. But where she's being held off. Pollock had it all set up to make the move she wanted, but she could not take the lead in the back stretch. Hooper continues to hold her off. Hooper and Pollock getting a little bit of separation on that back straight now. And again, Pollock has it set up to make the move she wants. But it looks like we're going to have 3 runners running across as we come down the straightaway. Pollock is in the lead. Pollock has the advantage right now. Hooper is trying to stay on her shoulder. Pollock from Wheaton North, Hooper from Glenbard East.
What a race.
It's going to be Wheaton North, Glenbard East, followed by Niles West, Palatine, Wheaton-Warrenville South will finish 5th.
And the freshman from Wheaton North pulls it out. At the end, she was very much challenged down the straightaway.
That was a marvelous strategical race by Samantha Pollock. She was very, very patient. She had her move set up twice. It didn't work the first time. She decided to settle back in on that back straightaway and wait to come around the front, and she brings her team home to victory. What a marvelous, marvelous anchor leg by Samantha Pollock.
Well, she saw that opportunity coming around the last curve, and she just took the chance and came out of there and held her off.
9:22 is the unofficial time, and that was much, much quicker than what we saw yesterday in the prelims. So Wheaton North, they win the 3,200 meter relay. Back now for an update of the field events. Here's Bob Lanigan.
Here in the discus pit, the spotlight was once again on Adrienne Leszewski of Morris. The senior had already captured her 5th career gold medal earlier in the meet by winning the Class AA shot put, and now all that stood between Adrienne and history was a gold medal in the discus. If she could capture it, she would repeat the three-peat. Nobody came within 9 feet of Adrienne's best effort during Friday's prelims. That made Saturday's finals a coronation instead of a competition. Adrienne's throw of 145.6 gave her a three-peat in the discus to match her three-peat in the shot, and it gave her a spot in the record books. You've had a historic career in the annals of IHSA track and field. Do you feel comfortable in a place among some very elite athletes?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I came down here and I didn't feel nervous at all, really. I felt pretty confident and relaxed. It just felt like a regular meet, honestly.
Is that because maybe you have some bigger goals down the road, maybe Olympics, NCAA, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that, and just being down here the first time, you know, you get experience, you know what it's like, and you know what to expect.
We expect to see Adrienne do very well at the University of North Carolina the next 4 years. Katie Levante, Heather Shaw, Nicole Salata, and Emily Anderson round out your top 5. In Class A, Jamie Nernberger of Piazza Southwestern had the funky socks going, but her throws were serious. A toss of 133.9 gave the junior her first ever state title.
I don't think it's really set in yet. I'm still kind of, you know, everybody's like, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you, you know, and I'm really happy, you know, I don't think it's hit me yet. And when it will, it'll be real big.
4 of the top 5 could be back again next year, including runner-up Natalie Salinas of Hampshire. We'll be back with more from the IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships after this short break.
Back on the track now for the Class A 400-meter relay. And again, St. Joseph Ogden is going to have a chance to add to their already impressive team total in this event. Here's the field. Weathersfield, lane 1, Macomb, St. Joseph Ogden, Sherrard, the best qualifying time in lane 4, Moments Co-op, Erie, Monticello, Rockford Lutheran, and Iliana Christian. Top qualifying time in this event, 53.3 by Moments. And this will be quick, but you want to keep an eye on lane 3, St. Joseph Ogden.
We've already seen a problem with a handoff today. This is probably the most crucial handoff relay because it's so quick, and you need to have those tenths of a second when you're doing the handoff to make the race effective.
Sarah Schmidt will run the opening leg for St. Joseph Ogden. And running the opening leg for Moments will be Diane Drain.
Tiffany Bishop from Moments is the defending 200 state champion. She will be anchoring for Moments, the team with the fastest qualifying.
Everybody out of the blocks cleanly. And Amanda Peters from St. Joseph Ogden appeared to get out to a very, very good start. And it looked like St. Joseph Ogden and Moments were the two teams that made their handoffs first. We are now into leg number 2. And again, it's oftentimes in this, wow, there's about 4 teams that made the exchange at the same time as we head into leg number 3 and make the turn down for the final 150 meters.
Who's going to get the baton first? Ooh.
Oh, we had a quick start by Sherrard.
She ran away from it.
But no foul, everything is okay. And coming down the track first, lane number 7, Monticello. Running the anchor leg is Jessica.
Here comes St. Joe Ogden.
Can she hang down? No, she can't. Lane 6 crossing first, Erie Cohen. Tammy Nielsen comes blowing down the front straightaway and runs across first. Wow.
What a strong finish for Tammy Nielsen from Erie.
Well, I'll tell you what, Erie Co-op, they've done a good job of getting points in the relay events. And even though St. Joseph Ogden has gotten off to such a great start, St. Joseph Ogden did get second.
Boy, that was tied for 3 and 4, wasn't it, Jim?
It was very tight.
Almost too close to call. But Erie did run away with it at the end with Tammy Nielsen, a junior's effort.
50:03 is the unofficial time.
That's quick.
Let's take a look at the field now for the AA 400-meter relay. And we are going to see a couple of the main combatants for the team title running in this event. Lane 1, Rich South. Lane 2, Thornton. Galesburg in lane 3. Proviso West, they are the defending state champs in this event. They'll be in lane 4. The favorites to win today, Morgan Park, they're in lane 5. Kenwood in lane 6. Romeoville lane 7. Rich Central and Cahokia round out the field. The state record in this event, 46.96, set by East St. Louis Lincoln in 1988. Sophomore Damaris Parchment will run the opening leg for the Morgan Park Academy here.
Jim, I'm pretty proud of my representation from my conference in this event. We've got 4 SICA schools out of the 9 finalists in this event, so we are well represented from SICA.
And the Chicago Public League well represented in this event as well, with Morgan Park and Kenwood in this event. And they're right next to each other on the track. Morgan Park in lane 5, Kenwood in lane 6.
Again, a good start is very crucial. Handoffs throughout, and we usually see the race develop in the last leg, or actually there's won or lost in that last leg.
Keep an eye on lanes 4, 5, and 6, but as we just saw in the Class A 400-meter relay, the winner came out of lane 7. So, and the times were very tightly bunched in yesterday's preliminaries. Start was fine. We've seen some adventures in the relays event so far today. We saw a drop baton in the 3,200-meter relay, and we saw what essentially is a false start in the 400-meter relay for Class A, with one of the runners leaving early for their leg, and Morgan Park just absolutely tearing it up in the back of the track. Shanna Pickett with a marvelous leg for Morgan Park, and they make the exchange first.
And there goes Ariel Hughes of Morgan Park. She's increasing that leg as she's walking down the stagger.
Tiffany Kennedy of Morgan Park will run the anchor leg. She gets the baton first. She's well in front, heading down the track. But Romeoville in lane 7 look like they were going to challenge for a moment, but Kennedy will cross first. Morgan Park first. Romeoville with a surprise second.
Nice strong leg by Elaine Hayes of Romeoville to wrap up second.
Hey, congratulations to the Spartans. They don't make a whole lot of appearances here at the state track and field meet, and they do have a pretty good representation here today, and that's a nice finish for them. But Morgan Park, they do what they want to do. If they pick up the points they should get in the relays, it will be all but virtually impossible to knock them off at the state title.
Very strong finish for Morgan Park, and again, they're in the race for the team title, so these points are very important.
You saw Tiffany Kennedy come across first. Asia Clark from Kenwood was behind her, and Kenwood ends up third. 47.7 was the unofficial time in the 400-meter relay. Okay, let's move on now to the 3,200-meter run in Class A. Sarah Selby is the top qualifier in this event. She's a freshman, but not only that, she is also the reigning IHSA Class A girls cross country champion. So you can say she's had a pretty good year.
And I've heard she's very confident that she's telling people that she's going to win. So I hope that that comes true for that young lady.
Well, but she has some other people she has to contend with, one of them being Katie Labracki of Woodstock Marion. Again, she has a ton of experience running in state championship events. And if experience counts for anything, and I believe it does, I think Katie Labracki is somebody to watch out for in the 3,200-meter run.
And we will go to
and
the
I'm willing to bet that if you saw Sarah Selby come walking down the street at you, you would hardly guess that she is already a state champion. And she could very well be that again when this race is over. She's a freshman, and you look at the qualifying times, Lisa, and Erin Frakes of Rock Ridge ran 11:11 to qualify in the sectionals. Selby ran 11:07, but after that, it's about 40 seconds down to the next run.
It sure appears that it's going to be a two-person race, at least from the sectional times.
But again, when you get to the sectionals, you have differences in weather, you have differences in the way, and believe me, even though the race is the same length, differences in the conditions of the track, differences, it's all sorts of different things that can make just those times a little bit deceiving, and we'll have to see how this race plays out. But after her amazing victory at the state cross country championship in the fall, Sarah Selby, even though she's a freshman, she's far and away the favorite in this race.
And typically you run with the competition as well. Maybe the competition in some of these other sectionals wasn't very difficult and they ran away with the field. So it may be a different race today with some good runners involved.
Susie Tuffy, the Class A record was 10:13, set in 1984.
Elizabeth Boomer.
I believe that was back when it was all one class, at least for the girls.
No, it was two classes.
Right now, Sarah Selby, she's running in 4th place. They come down the front straightaway. Due to the length of this event, we pick up the action later on in the proceedings. It looks like Selby is going to have to run around Jackie Recorth of Rochester.
And she did it with ease. Didn't even look like she had to give any more energy to run around her.
Well, you know what? It's not bragging if you can back it up. She
You
said
betcha.
she was going to win this race, and she's going to win this thing going away. This is an unbelievable performance. And now you have to start to look down the road a little bit and say, well, you know what? How many championships could Sarah Selby win during the course of her time in high school? She's already going to be 2 for 2.
I think she's got many more to come in the next 3 years.
Well, and, the other thing you have to start to look at is, well, can she start setting her sights a little higher and maybe start thinking about possibly setting some state records? Now, I know in this meet, the state record is way down there, 10:13, and her time right now is 10:30, but certainly as a freshman, you have to look and say, well, can Sarah Selby not only become a multiple-time state champion, but can she become one of the best female distance runners ever in the state of Illinois?
And look at the energy she has left to finish off this race. She's going to lap a couple more people here at the end and go around them with ease as well.
2 state championship races, cross country in the fall, track in the spring, and Sarah Selby has won 2 state titles. 10:55 is her unofficial time. Let's pick up some of the other runners now as they come across for the other placings. From Rock Ridge, finishing second today, Erin Frakes, the senior, so she finishes off her high school career in this event with a nice run. Stephanie Bone from Herscher, she's going to come in third and running a nice race. From Reed Custer is Leslie McHugh, and remember, she is only a sophomore, so it's highly likely we will see her back in this event in the years to come. So a marvelous run for Sarah Selby as she gets to hang another gold medal up on the mantle when she gets home.
This is a shot of Sarah as she's actually lapping the field. With 1 lap to go, she had to go out around the runner, and as we said earlier, did it with ease and had the lead to stay.
Congratulations to Sarah Selby, and now for an update on the field events, let's go to Bob Lanigan.
Jim and Lisa of St. Joe Ogden ends up capturing the Class A crown. They'll have Sarah Schmidt to thank. The sophomore has been a busy lady this weekend. Aside from her duties on the track, Sarah is competing in the triple jump, where she was the #1 qualifier after Friday's preliminaries. A gold medal in this event by Sarah would really bolster St. Joe's shot at the Class A crown. As it turned out, Sarah's preliminary hop, skip, and jump of 36 feet 7 inches held up, giving St. Joe Ogden some much-needed points. It also gave the sophomore her first state title and one less thing to do. How do you prepare for all the things you're doing out here today?
I can't really focus on one thing. I have to keep a rounded kind of mind. I think if I focus on one thing too much, it's kind of tough.
A terrific battle for second went to freshman Nikki Marzuski of Coal City over sophomore Angie Hawk of Argento Orana. With not a single upperclassman in the top 3, look for a very competitive triple jump in the years to come. In Class AA, Michelle Burke of Evanston closes out her career in style. The senior, with a leap of 37.5 takes home the title. Lindsey Douglas and Demetria McClinton, a great battle for second, but in the end it was Burke that brought home the gold.
I knew that I might not get first place, but I was going to come out and do my best.
But you can't get any better than first place this year, so how about that finish?
Very, very happy. I was surprised also.
You surprised yourself how?
Well, my jumps is basically in high 36s, so I knew I had to come out today, get 37.38 to be a winner. So I had to come in with the right mindset.
We'll be back with more from the IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships after this short break.
Time now for the 3,200-meter run for Class AA. And out of all the races today, this one may have the most little subplots to it. We'll try and cover them all as the course of the race goes on. Maria Cicero of York with the top qualifying time of 10:56. As you look at the rest of the field, the state record in this event is held by Melissa Straza of Urbana. She ran 10:22 in 1983. But I want to call your attention all the way to the outside of the track. Now, Victoria Jackson of Lake Forest was supposed to be in this race. She is not. She apparently is a scratch. That is Ann Gaffigan of Sacred Heart Griffin. So what we're telling you is she has the highest sectional qualifying time of any runner in this race. But you know what? She's a 1998 IHSA Girls Cross Country Champion. She's a strong runner. She's very, very good. And she's a threat in this race. So one of those cases where we have a runner on all the way to the outside of the track who may have a chance of winning this thing. It's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out.
All of the sectional performances are very close in time, so it's really anybody's race.
Another runner we want to call your attention to is Delilah DiCrescenzo, bib number 71. She's from Queen of Peace in Burbank. As a junior, earlier this year, she came out of nowhere and she won the finished second, at the cross-country championships at Detweiler Park in the fall. So all sorts of people in this race who have wonderful pedigrees and wonderful records as competitors here in the state of Illinois, and it may boil down to a wide open race depending on how Maria Cicero runs, because her sectional time was 6 seconds better than everybody else. Cicero has taken the lead as we come around the first turn. Cicero has adopted what appears to be a very comfortable pace at the front of the pack. And Victoria Jackson, we should mention, she was also the defending champion in this event. They're not running in a race. Due to the length of today's event, we now pick up the action later on in the proceedings.
She looks very determined. She wants this race to be hers.
Gaffigan now leading by about 30 or 35 meters. Cicero is running second. Katie Hartman continues to run third. Heffron is fourth. And right now running in fifth place from Glenbard South is Kim Weidman, another senior. We're going to have a good battle for fifth place, the way things are shaking up now. But on the back straightaway, Ann Gaffigan is pulled away, and she is going to take a state championship again back to Springfield.
It sure looks that way. We've got a battle for third, however.
And again, just a marvelous story that Ann Gaffigan, after having a tough year as a junior, she's going to come down front straight away, and she has 100 meters to go until she becomes a state champion again. She knows the feeling, and she gets to experience it one more time.
She feels it, Jim. She's really kicking it in as she's coming here close to the finish line.
What a marvelous story for Ann Gaffigan. She runs 10:27 to win a state championship.
A minute faster than her sectional time. Incredible.
What a marvelous race. Maria Cicero of York is going to finish second. And now we have a battle for third going on between Heffron. She came wide off the turn. She is going to finish third for the St. Charles Saints. Finishing fourth is Katie Hartman, and coming in fifth from Glenbard South is Kim Weidman. Congratulations to Ann Gaffigan.
She gave it all she had. Look at the determination on Ann's face there. She knows, like you said, what it feels like to be state champion, and she wanted it, and she got it.
Marvelous, marvelous race. What a way to finish. Let's go to Bob Lanigan once again for an update on the field events.
Jim and Lisa, the long jump could be one of our most competitive events here today. In Class AA, Carisha Andrews of Galesburg has the top qualifying jump, while in Single A, a great battle between Lindsay Staltzer of Kewanee and Crystal Schnitker of Robinson. Both girls had the ability to jump 17 feet, which should be enough to capture the gold. The battle between Schnitker and Staltzer was as good as advertised, and as expected, a leap of 17 feet would be necessary to capture the crown. Staltzer was your leader after the prelims with a jump of 16 feet 11 1/4 inch, but Schnitker, who did not even qualify for state last year, dug down deep and landed the gold with a jump of 17 feet. Crystal, how do you not qualify last year as a sophomore and then come down here as a junior and win the state championship? How does anybody get that much better in 1 year?
Well, I have a really good coach who's helped me. I mean, he's helped me with my form and everything, and just getting stronger helps too, I guess.
Did you feel like you had the ability to come down here and win, or did you surprise yourself?
Yeah, I knew I could. I'd been jumping over 16.2 all year, which was the state qualifying time, so I knew I could make it here. I didn't expect to win, but...
Ella Young of Fairbury is the only senior in the top 5. The Class A long jump should be as competitive as the triple jump next year. In Class AA, Carissa Andrews of Galesburg shrugged off the pressure of being the field favorite and out-jumped everybody by a half foot to win it.
I don't think it's hit me yet, you know. I'm just like, you know, wow, I got a gold medal, you know, but tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm be like, oh my God, I'm a state champion.
Alexis Barrett of Palatine is the only senior in the top 5. Andrews, Geronimo, Green, and King all back next year to make the long jump one of the feature events in 2001. Jim and Lisa will be back with more from the IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships after this short break.
On your mark. They have the hurdles on the track. We are ready for the 100-meter high hurdles in Class A. There is the runner to beat. That's Chelsea Humphrey, junior from Weathersfield. She won this event last year. She holds the state record in Class A. She broke it yesterday.
She had a great race yesterday. The crucial thing here is getting out of the blocks and establishing pace and rhythm. She did a great job yesterday. She's the one to beat.
Got off to a little bit of a slow start. Keep an eye on the clock. Keep an eye on the track. Chelsea Humphrey is leading. Nicole Gates trying to stay with her. Gates hit her. Chelsea Humphrey, she across the finish line. 14-4. I don't care what the official time is. That's going to better her own state record.
Yeah, it looks like Chelsea got a new record there again. And look how smooth she looks. Look at her over every hurdle. She's not even hardly leaving the track. She's just stepping over these hurdles, what she's supposed to do. Smooth rhythm, great race.
I've never seen somebody smile so much during a race. She knew she had it. The unofficial time is 14.415. That's unofficial. But she ran 14.7 yesterday, so I think she's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, if that holds up, she shattered her state record again.
And remember, she's a junior. She's going to be back for more.
To the AA 100-meter high
Two state championships, two state records in this event for Chelsea Humphrey. Now we move on to the 100-meter high hurdles in Class AA. The defending champion, Dawn Harper of East St. Louis. She will be in lane 2. This is a big event for Morgan Park because Shanna Pickett is going to be in lane number 3. The top qualifying time was put in by a freshman, Christina Gutierrez from Springfield. She qualified for this event in 14.63. The state record in this event in Class AA, 14.03 by Dawn Harper of East St. Louis Senior. That was set just last year.
And LaShawna Canty of Algonquin Jacobs in 9.
Dawn Harper ran 15.32 in the prelims yesterday, and right now you're looking at lane 8. That's Giselle Evans of Rich South. But anyway, Dawn Harper 15.32 in her prelim yesterday, but she won her prelim. So even though she's in lane 2, she has a shot at bettering her own state record, and she has a shot at repeating as champion.
And remember, she's just a sophomore. She won this race as a freshman.
Harper got out of the blocks very, very slowly in lane 4. Arctic Johnson of Galesburg took the lead, but now here comes Christina Gutierrez. And in lane 2, here's Harper. Gutierrez and Harper. Gutierrez wins. Harper in second. It looked like Shanna Pickett of Morgan Park got 3rd place, so that's big for Morgan Park State Championship. 14.65 is the unofficial time.
The unofficial is Christina Gutierrez.
Dawn Harper was challenging there at the end. If she wouldn't have clipped the last hurdle, I think she would have caught her at the end possibly. But she caught that hurdle.
And it may have all turned out to be the start for Dawn Harper because she was one of the last runners to break out of the blocks.
Well, the start's most critical. We said that from the beginning.
Crew prepares the track. Here's the field, the 100-meter dash.
Christina Gutierrez, state champion,
One from Ileana
has been the case in so many of these events.
Amanda Peters.
We'll see again, she's only a freshman.
Let's take a look here. She got out of the blocks slow, Dawn Harper. Gutierrez got a great start. You see she hit the hurdle first. She got over the first hurdle. Dawn Harper clipped a couple hurdles. She was very close on all of them as she was coming over.
Arctic Johnson in lane 4 got off to a fantastic start. The quick start was just overtaken by the speed of all the other runners. Next, the 100-meter dash in Class A. Darla Hannon from Vienna is in lane 6. She is the defending champion. The best time in the prelims turned in by Tammy Nielsen of Erie Co-op. She will be in lane 5. Her time was 12.41. The state record in Class A is 12.2, held by 2 runners, Deia Howard of Chicago Christian and Shelley LeMaster of Riverdale. Those records were both set 10 years ago.
First of all, 800-meter relay.
Amanda Peters running in lane 2 for St. Joseph Ogden. Of course, she is part of the team competition. That's lane 8. Megan Shutwell, she's from Union High School. Again, St. Joe Ogden, they picked up points and almost every chance that they have had. They've got another opportunity here.
We've got Erie, St. Joe Ogden, all the team title contenders in this race.
We had a little burp in the blocks, it appeared, and It was in lane 4 from Tiffany Bishop. And kind of the murmur you're hearing going through the crowd is I'm sure there are some people wondering why that wasn't a false start. But I don't think the starter had called set quite yet. I think that may be why they were brought out of the blocks.
We had some problems yesterday with some malfunctioning starter guns where he would pull the trigger and it didn't go. So I don't know if that's part of the problem or not.
In any event, we'll try it again. Remember, it's NCAA rules. One false start, that's it. You don't get a second chance. So that's sometimes why you see a little slower start is people make sure they, especially if they're a good finisher, they're willing to sit in the blocks for that extra half heartbeat. Bishop got off to a pretty good start, but now taking advantage of everybody is Darla Hannon, the defending champion in lane 6. She has the lead. Hannon ahead by about 2 steps. Hannon defends her title. Finishing second is Tammy Nielsen of Erie Carver. And it looked like Erica Meyer from Milledgeville was third.
There was pretty much no question from the start to the finish.
12:26, the unofficial time. It was pretty close to a state record.
Darla came out of the blocks very strong and accelerated all the way down the track. That was her race. She knew it from the start.
It's a good point, Lisa, because it seemed like as soon as she broke out of the block, she knew she had it. She just came tearing down the track.
She just looked really strong.
Right, even though she didn't get out of the blocks first.
Running 11:57.6, Michelle Ware.
A champ defends their title, and Darla Hannon
In
will
8th place,
go to graduation as a state champion. Next up, the 100-meter dash for Class AA. And it is time now to get another look at Adia McKinnon. She'll be in the middle of the track in lane 5. That's because she had the best qualifying time out of anybody, 11:99. Tiffany Kennedy from Morgan Park. She is going to be in lane 4. This should be a very, very quick race. 11:05 is the state record, and Adia McKinnon has thoughts of bettering that in this race.
In 5th place, from Stockton Co-op, and the winner of the Class A 3,200-meter run.
If there is going to be a state record in this event, that may be the most important piece of information right now. The wind has just lifted into a wisp. That flag is hanging just pretty dead still at the south end of the track. There is Adia McKinnon.
Conditions are primed for a record to fall here, Jim.
One of the amazing things of many about Adia McKinnon is she is hearing impaired. She wears hearing aids in both ears, but not when she runs. It makes it very difficult for her to pick up the starter's guns, but she doesn't like the way they sit in her ears when she runs, and there's a little bit of a problem with them falling out at times. So she goes without the hearing aids, and she has to be very careful when she starts to make sure and pick up the gun. She's already been part of championship relay team today. She ran the 3rd leg in the medley relay and was outstanding.
If she gets out of the blocks, this is her race to win.
Once again, the state record, 11.5, Cynthia Tyler of East St. Louis Lincoln in 1990. On her left will be Tiffany Kennedy of Morgan Park, and to the right, Lola Anababa of Proviso West.
Again, important for team points here.
McKinnon breaks out first.
Here she
Kennedy
goes.
came down with her head down, but can't stay with her. It's McKinnon and Kennedy coming down for the last 20 meters. McKinnon is going to win. Kennedy's second unofficial time, 11:7. A little slower than we would have expected, but McKinnon picks up her second gold medal of the meet.
Looked like Adia kind of pulled back there at the end. She didn't run all the way through the line. She's running strong, and then she kind of sets back a little bit.
Finishing third in lane 6 was Anna Baba of Proviso West. So Adia McKinnon comes through and wins the 100-meter dash.
Still a very fast time there for Adia.
I wonder if she didn't sneak a look at the clock over to her left as she was coming down to the finish and maybe say, okay, well, you know what? I think I'll save the energy for some more work that's coming up later on in the day.
Adia's headed for UCLA in the fall.
And she is one of the top students in her class at HF also. The 800-meter run for Class A is coming up next. The defending champion had the best time in the prelims, Beth Hyman of Greece Central. She will run on the inside. She is the runner to beat. 2:15.78 was the qualifying time. She was almost 2 full seconds better than Casey Pilcher of Harrisburg, who had the second best qualifying time. But we saw Mindy Peterson run a little while ago. How much is she going to have in the tank, and can she make a run at it? We also saw Lindy Powell run with a lot of heart in the 3,200-meter relay earlier. How much did that take out of her? A lot of people we've seen earlier in the meet coming up in the girls' Class A 800-meter run. In case you're wondering about the state record in this event, 2:12 by Carrie Rink of Cleveland in 1988.
The wooden shoes had Lindsay Wood, 4-3. That's your.
Now we should point out that Hyman, this is her first time stepping on the track today, where in the case of Mindy Peterson and Lindsay Gould, they've already been out there in a relay. So would certainly expect that Hyman has the advantage, but strange things happen in the state track meet sometimes.
That's very true.
Second best qualifying time in this event was turned in by Casey Pilcher, as we mentioned, of Harrisburg. She won her prelim heat 2:17. Hyman won hers in 2:15, won by 6 seconds. So there was a pretty wide range of times within the prelims,
Final 12.
even among the best times in each heat. So really, I think you can't go too much off the prelims. We're just going to have to see how this race develops. And Hyman decides to get to the pole first, and she will lead going down the back stretch.
This is such a strategic race. You have to know when to make your move and what to do with the race. So usually the race develops in the last 300.
Coming up is Pilcher of Harrisburg.
Again, this may be the most misnamed event of all in track and field, because if you think you can run this race and be competitive, you're nuts. It's an 800-meter dash.
Absolutely. This pace really gets a lot quicker as the years go by.
And I don't want to get the people who run the 100, the 200, the 2-mile badly, but I really think your best runners are usually the ones in this race.
This is definitely one of the most exciting open races. These girls need to be careful not to get boxed in. That can really hurt them.
You can have distance runners in this thing, and you can have sprinters too. Anybody who can run can usually do pretty well in this race. Casey Pilcher has moved into second place, right off the shoulder of Beth Hyman. So it's Hyman and Pilcher, and Mindy Kuehl of Modern Day, a senior, is in third place right now. About 300 yards to go. And absolutely nothing has been sorted out in this one.
At this point, the race should be developing. We should be able to tell what's going to happen, but they're staying bunched together. Look at that crowd.
Well, they've all decided what they're going to do is push the pace and see if Hyman's going to give up the lead, and she has not as of yet.
Again, we've talked earlier about passing on the curve. We want to try to avoid that. It exerts so much energy, but we may be doing that anyway.
Pilcher trying to slip in right before they get to the curve, and she caught. And taking the lead for Rockridge is Mindy Peterson. Peterson was in danger of getting boxed in. That's why she ran right to the top of the curve. And here comes the sprint. Peterson trying to hold it out. She gets passed for second place. Peterson wins it. And finishing in second after all was Casey Pilcher. Wow, a lot of things happened in the last 200 meters of that race.
We have the winners of the Class
Mindy Peterson breaks about every hurdle going around this turn. First of all, she couldn't slip into the front before the turn, so she's already running on the outside. Then she decides, you know what, I'm out here, I might as well keep on running. But the only problem with that was Hyman wasn't going to let her cut back in. And at that point, Peterson had to turn the jets back on and get around because she would have been in real trouble if she had to run that entire curve on the outside. It wasn't necessarily pretty, but it was a first place finish for Peterson. Wow.
It was an incredible burst there. It was like she was shot out of a cannon coming around that corner.
Because she was running in lane 2 around that curve, believe me, she was running a lot faster than everybody else who was running on the inside.
And I think you were right. She was in danger of being boxed in, and she wasn't going to let that happen.
Well, that was a smart race because she saw the opportunity there. And what happens in the 800, if you wait for the right time, many times the race is over by the time the right moment comes. So if you feel you can grab the lead, you'd better go out and do it. And that's what Mindy Peterson did. Now the 800-meter run in Class AA. The field shakes up like this. Hannah Standard from Southeast. She had the best qualifying time, 2:15. She will run right in the inside of the pole, but some other runners we have already seen today. Samantha Pollock from Wheaton North, the freshman. She will also be grouped with among the top runners in this race. And in case you're wondering once again about the state record in this event, the 800-meter run in Class AA, 2:07 by Shelley McBride of Creek-Donee. That came back in 19.
hurdles and a new Class A record. Chelsea Humphrey.
It's Hannah Standard. So you certainly want to get it right. So Hannah Standard, the best qualifying time for Springfield Southeast. Let's see who decides to break for the pole first.
1-2, Kalia Sneed of Chicago Morgan Park in 1-3. Jenny Morrison of
Big lead on the back straightaway. Sometimes in the 800 you can win it in the first couple hundred meters if you can run away from everybody else.
Just depends if you can hold that pace.
Other prelim times, the second best prelim time was Jenny Corson of Glenbard West. Tabitha Bowling of Lake Zurich, a senior. She was just a half a minute behind that.
We've got a Morgan Park runner in this race also, Kalia Sneed, so she'll want to get in there and get some points.
Which is important as far as the team standards are concerned. This is a very, very quick opening lap. And Tabitha Bowling of Lake Zurich took the lead almost from the start. She's going to make everybody run it out. Across the first lap in 1:03. Jenny Corson of Glenbard West is running in second. Kara Mullen of Lake Forest, one of the many fine distance runners that come out of the Scouts program, is running in third.
Third position.
Tabitha Bowling still looking strong. She holds the lead.
And Giesler of Downers
She is an absolutely beautiful stride. Marvelous run.
She looks very relaxed and pretty strong.
Bowling's lead is about 3 meters, but Kara Mullen has made her move and is now running in second place.
Still led by Bowling of Lake Zurich.
Tabitha Bowling holding the lead. Kara Mullen has moved up on her shoulder. Now again, let's see what happens. The smart play would seem to be if Mullen has a lot in the tank to wait until they get on the straightaway. Can Bowling hold her off? 100 meters to go. Tabitha Bowling, she has held the lead this entire race. She's trying to hold on to Kara Mullen. So far, she has done so. 25 meters to go. Bowling trying to hang on. It's Bowling and Mullen. Well, you know what? That was a lot closer than it looked.
Yes.
I'm not willing to call it from where we had to look at it from. Let's go to the replay and check. Bowling is getting the congratulations. Let's see. Because Mullen leads at the right time.
Still not decided
and Bowling got it by about half of a head.
Not by much, but she did pull it out.
We mentioned at the start that you can win this race in the first 200 meters if you can get off to good enough of a start. Tabitha Bowling did exactly that. She blasted through the first 400 meters at about 1:03, runs the second 400 at about 1:09, and picks up an impressive victory in a time of 2:12. More to come from the 2000 IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. When we come back after this break, we'll take a look at the 800-meter relay. Welcome back to Eastern Illinois University. Let's take a look at the standings before we go to the 800-meter relay, because this is a huge race in the battle for the team state championship. And as you look at the A standings, St. Joseph Ogden, they're leading as we expected, but Erie Co-op just 5 points behind. And as we go to set the field for the 800-meter relay, we need to point out that both of those schools are entered in this race. Erie Co-op in lane 6, St. Joseph Ogden in lane 8. The top qualifying time was Moments at 1:47.13.
The staggers in this race are really deceptive. You think that the teams have leads, and they do not. It's very important to get the baton to the next runner immediately to fresh legs, so handoffs are important.
And remember, we saw a problem with a handoff earlier in this meet, and I'll guarantee you, once it happens in a meet, everybody on a relay team is thinking about it, whether they like to admit it or not.
Absolutely. It's in the front of their mind, that's for sure.
And Erie in lane 6, they have a bit of an advantage here because as their runners look up the track, they can see exactly where the runners from St. Joseph Ogden are.
The key is to watch the handoffs, then you can know where everybody is on the track.
Running the opening leg for Moments in the middle of the track is Diane Drain. And also, something to point out for a little bit later, Weathersfield is running in lane 4. They have a shot at picking up some points in this event. Chelsea Humphrey, who set a state record in the 100-meter hurdles just moments ago, she will run leg number 2 for Weathersfield. And they are in lane 4. And right now, Humphrey has the baton for Weathersfield. Weathersfield is just coming into your screen right now. She's in the green uniform, and she's just about made up the stagger. And here's where it's deceiving. It certainly looks like Richmond Burton in lane 9, they have a huge lead on everybody else, but they're not even close to where they actually are in relation to everybody else in the track.
Moments is really picking up the stagger too. They may get the baton first.
Humphrey ran a very nice leg. The first exchange looks like it was made by Monticello in lane 3 as Molly Marker handed off to Amanda McLeese, a senior.
Erie and Moments were very close too.
And what a wonderful leg is being run now by the next runner for Weathersfield. That's Kelly Charlotte, a sophomore. I'm just going to guess that if Weathersfield isn't in front right now, they're pretty close. It is between them and Monticello in lane 3. Monticello makes the exchange first. Running for Monticello is Jessica Bailey, a freshman. She's running the anchor leg. Jessica Bailey and Monticello, she's in lane 3. And you know what? We talked about the stagger, and look at this. Richmond Burton's anchor leg, Brittany Bernig, she is running in first, but she has all sorts of company. Bernig trying to hang on and close out Erie. Erie, are they going to get there? It looked like Erie just got across the finish line first. Too close to call between Weathersfield and Richmond Burton for third. But what an incredible run by Richmond Burton. They're on the outside of the track. They had the slowest qualifying time of the 9 teams in the race. And they were very close to winning this thing.
Boy, it's tough to call from that angle. I think Erie clipped her at the end.
Remember, Erie 5 points behind St. Joseph Ogden coming into this race.
That'll be big if they pulled that one out.
And if they did get it, it's huge. Now, St. Joseph Ogden, that is their team in lane 8.
They may have snuck a couple points out, but not many.
It looked like Erie got first, Weathersfield second.
In 7th place with a time
and then very close between Moments and Richmond Burton for third.
Yeah, Richmond Burton snuck in there too.
Big race for Erie and a marvelous anchor leg by Tammy Nielsen. She has certainly done a wonderful job for her team so far in this Class A championship.
That was an incredible race for Richmond Burton out there in the outside lane too.
And it is. It's a hard race. It's a hard race to call, first of all, because you sometimes forget about the people in lane 9, but it's almost an impossible race to run out in lane 9 because you have no idea where you're at in relation to everybody else because you can't see anybody else because everybody is behind you. Time now for the 800-meter relay in Class AA. And as the single A race was important as far as the team standings are concerned, so is this one. Morgan Park, the defending champs, they are out in lane 8. The top qualifying time, Thornwood. They turned in a time of 1:42.13 in the prelims, and the state record for the 800-meter relay in Class AA, 1:39.65, set by Morgan Park. That was back in 1996.
And as Jim said, this is important for the team title. Both Evanston and Morgan Park are running 1-2 now in the team standings.
Evanston Township in 4. The Thornwood Thunderbirds in the middle.
Just about ready to go. Running the opening leg for Morgan Park will be Tiffany Kennedy. She'll be followed by Ariel Hughes, Jasmine Williams, and Damaris Parchment will run the anchor leg. Janine Ford will start off for Thornwood.
Thornwood turned in the top prelim time at 1:42.13.
The way it works out, a lot of this, with the exception of Leah McKinnon, because HF does not have a team in this event, you have a lot of the individual stars running legs at various points in this race. You mentioned Tiffany Kennedy, she'll lead off for Morgan Park. Asia Clark, she'll run the anchor leg for Kenwood. They'll be in lane 6.
Thornwood looked very strong in this race yesterday in the prelims. I was very impressed with their race.
Yeah, don't count out Reviso West either. Kim Swain will run the opening leg for them. They're in lane 3. So all sorts of quality runners in this event. This is the 800-meter relay in Class AA.
Respectable in this event yesterday. Very even.
Watch for who makes the first exchange.
Into the first exchange.
Everything is so spread out, hard to tell. Morgan Park right in the neighborhood. It looked like Morgan Park made their exchange first out of everybody else. Running the second leg for Morgan Park is Ariel Hughes. She has made up the stagger on the runner to her outside, Emily George of Glenbard North. And now it becomes difficult for Morgan Park to run this race because they've made up the stagger on the only team that's in front of them.
Morgan Park was really strong at this point.
But Evanston makes the handoff first. Latoya Murphy, a sophomore, is running leg number 3, and she has made up the stagger to her right now.
Jasmine Williams.
Running right next to Latoya Murphy is Veronica Hunter for Thornwood.
Veronica Hunter looks good.
Yeah, she held off the challenge on that back stretch. Let's see who makes the first exchange now. Morgan Park makes the exchange first. Damaris Parchment will take the anchor leg. She has the baton for Morgan Park. We'll get a better idea once they make their turn onto the straightaway of who has the lead, but you know what? There's no doubt about it. Flying down the front straightaway is Damaris Parchment. Morgan Park trying to solidify their hold on first place. They look like they will do so. Morgan Park first for second place. It was close, but it looked like Kenwood's Asia Clark held off KYNA Hammonds of Thornwood to get second.
I agree with you.
American Parchment, an unofficial championship. In this event,
140.44 is the unofficial time.
Boy, is that big for Morgan Park in the team standings.
Well, the unofficial time is within 0.8 of a second of the state record, which is held by Morgan Park. So a very, very impressive run.
Kenwood holds off for second place.
So Morgan Park, they qualified a team in the relays. They have done very well so far. And it's one thing to get people into the finals. It's another thing to start picking up points. That's what Morgan Park has done. 400-meter dash in Class A. We saw Gina Rollins run a very impressive anchor leg a little while ago. She's in lane 4 of this event. She is the defending champion, KRISTEN Hammer. I think realistically, you just need to throw the names into a hat in this one. The qualifying times were all within a second of each other, and you're looking at Darla Hannon from Vienna. She's already won the 100-meter dash.
This is a very fun race. It's a total sprint, and the runners have to drive themselves all the way around the track.
The range in qualifying times, Gina Rollins, 59.09, and the last person to get into this championship event was Meredith Dieters of Teutopolis at 1.31.
It's a great time to be the last qualifier.
And Dieters ran in the same heat as Hannon yesterday. So this is going to be fast, and it ought to be very, very close.
With Hannon's sprinting ability, she's going to have a good shot at this race.
56.2 from Barb Fogel of Mount Carroll in 1981 is the state record.
That's a quick time. That's why it's held since 1981.
And again, one of the interesting things about this race many of the times is that some of the runners do not use blocks for it. And what's really surprising is one of them is Christine Hammer, who had the best preliminary time. Runners away cleanly. You just get as close to the line as you can and run as hard as you can for one trip around the track. Already making up her stagger is Megan Shutwell out in lane 8.
Just amazes me that some of them don't use blocks, so it's almost like they took a step backward before they went forward.
And right in the middle of the track and running very, very well is Lindsay Scheimer from Robinson. She's made up her stagger, and she's almost picked up the stagger on Darla Hannon over in lane 6.
She's even with Hammer of Polo.
So you would have to think that Scheimer, since she's running dead even with both of the runners to her right, she has to be leading at this point. Let's see how they come off the turn. Lindsay Scheimer, the junior, is now running stride for stride with Gina Rollins. Scheimer running first, Rollins running second. Let's see who can hold each other off. Scheimer moving down toward the finish. Scheimer is going to finish first. Rollins is second. Hannon is third. Out in lane 8, Megan Shutwell is fourth. 56.90 is the unofficial time.
That's an awful quick race.
Yeah, very quick.
The official championship to Stanford Olympia and Gina Rollins, the junior.
Get a look at Gina Rollins, who ends up finishing second to Lindsay Scheimer. And you wonder if it were a day or maybe if it weren't a little warmer, that if that wouldn't have been a state record type of race. Because it was very, very quick.
Lane 1 from MOLINE, Lindsay McCullough, freshman.
Time now for the 400-meter dash in Class AA.
Alicia Harris of the Wheaton North Falcons.
And once again, we will get a look at Adia McKinnon. She is in the middle of the track for this race. She had the best qualifying time, 54.74. And again, the question is, can she not only win this race, but can she set a AA record? 53.25 by Carmelita Williams of East St. Louis Lincoln in 1988. That is the state record in this event.
Stevenson, the Patriots have Shenna Hill.
Adia McKinnon, she has been part of a relay championship. She has won her own individual gold medal, and now she tries for number 3.
I believe this to be her strongest race too, Jim. I think she's the best quarter miler around.
As you look at Adia McKinnon, the wind is blowing gently right into her face. There is just a little bit of a breeze, but it's a lot more noticeable than it was at the start of the 100-meter dash a little while ago. Also in this race, Tabitha Voling, who just won the 800-meter run from Lake Zurich. She's out in lane 8, so let's see how she does. She's had a rest of about 15-20 minutes before she has to come back and run this event.
And in lane 6 is Jessica Fouché. She had a great day yesterday, so we'll see how she does today.
And all eyes are on lane number 5 as Adia McKinnon gets out of the blocks.
And there goes McKinnon.
Repeat it one more time, 53.25. That is the state record. McKinnon,
she's already made the staggers up.
Already made up 2 staggers. And she has just about picked up all of the staggers to her right. That means she's passed 4 people just by sheer speed.
And that stride is incredible.
You see the time in the lower left. Again, 53.25, and the clock you are seeing is unofficial. It's tended to be off by a couple of tenths of a second. Adia McKinnon is not even being challenged in this race. 75 meters to go for Adia McKinnon. Can she get in under 53.25?
Boy, it's going to be close.
She has about 20 meters to go. She just makes it 52.7.
That's unofficial. That's unofficial.
It's unofficial, but I'm willing to bet that even with the discrepancy of a few tenths of a second, she has set a state record, and the crowd realizes it and cheers their approval.
Adia was already looking at the clock. She knew that she was very close to a state record. You see her reaction there at the end.
National record is 52:39.
It is just unbelievable to watch her run because you know what?
IHSA
She was literally and figuratively running by herself. She's getting a standing ovation from the crowd right now.
For Chicago Wood Council.
As soon as we get the unofficial time, we will give it to her.
300-meter low hurdles. 300-meter low hurdles. The hurdles.
Second time today we've seen a state record fall. We also saw it fall in the 100-meter hurdles in Class A. And speaking of hurdles, time now for the 300-meter low hurdles for Class A. We will once again get to see Chelsea Humphrey. She's the other record setter on the track today. She is going to be running in lane 4. Well, let's do a little housekeeping here. 46.3 was her qualifying time, and the Class A record of the 300 lows, 43.75, set by Jenny Magram of Litchfield, and also a lot riding on the line here in the team championship because St. Joseph Ogden will have Sarah Schmidt running in lane 6.
In 8th place,
Lane 3, Lisa Carter in lane 5, Ashley McMillan.
Chelsea Humphrey already has a championship and a state record.
From earlier, Chelsea Humphrey of
She's had a good day. She not only won the 100-meter hurdles, she had a marvelous
Sarah
day.
Schmidt
The 800-meter
of St.
relay.
Joe Ogden.
Wasn't
In
good enough
7,
to
Laura
deliver her
Hamilton
team
of
victory.
Elmhurst
She
Timothy
certainly
Christian. In 8,
The 300 hurdles is a tough race. Only the strong survive in this one. You got to be able to keep your rhythm between the hurdles, and you get tired at the end of that 300. So it's a tough race.
Chelsea has run her 3 races right together. She looks like she's a little cold out there. I have a hard time imagining what she could be with all the running she's done over the last half hour and 45 minutes.
I would think that would be difficult with the conditions like they are. After you get warmed up, to get cooled down and get warmed up again would probably be tough on the muscles.
Archibald from Belleville West.
And just to tell you a little bit more about the field for this event, Lisa Carter from Macomb and Ashley McMillan from Macomb also, so they have 2 runners in the race, but Sarah Schmidt, St. Joseph Ogden, lane 6. St. Joseph Ogden has fallen behind Erie in the team standings. So here's a chance for Sarah Schmidt to get her team back up the ladder toward a state title.
Ashley McMillan looked very good yesterday in the prelims.
And again, interesting that Ashley McMillan goes with more of a stand-up start. You see her right in the middle of the screen, kind of hunched over there. She's not on the block, she's up.
She uses the blocks to push off of, but she doesn't get down in the traditional set.
She uses the old wide receiver stance. What she apparently it worked because she's already made up the stagger on the runner to her right, and that is Sarah Schmidt. So Ashley McMillan of Macomb, right in the middle of the track, is off to a wonderful start, and she's going over the hurdles before anybody else is getting even close.
You want to see them run through the hurdles, not extend and jump, but just step over them.
It looked like she may have run into a little problem with her steps there over the previous hurdle, but now she's got it back in gear. Ashley McMillan of Macomb, she's running in first. Running in second is Laura Hamilton of Timothy Christian, and now moving into second in lane 2 is Whitney McComas of Heritage.
This is when fatigue takes over.
And it looks like McMillan is tying up a little bit, and she ties up just enough to where McComas gets her the tape.
Well, and that's big for St. Joe Ogden. She fell over the last hurdle and lost any team points.
So Whitney McComas of Heritage finishes first. McMillan is going to end up second. Laura Hamilton from Timothy Christian finishes third. And if we can keep this rolling, you're going to see Sarah Schmidt of St. Joseph Ogden go down. She's going to end up finishing 9th, and that could turn out to be big. Because remember, you only score the first 8.
And she just caught that last hurdle with her foot.
44.83 is the unofficial time. So pretty quick race for Whitney McComas. She takes home a state title. Now the field for the 300-meter low hurdles in AA. Crystal Sanders of Thornwood had the best preliminary time, 44.38. We saw Christina Gutierrez. She won the 100-meter hurdles in Class AA just a little while ago. She will be in lane 4.
Bloomington, the Raiders in 7. Leah Kincaid, Springfield Southeast, the Spartans out in 8. And Benicia.
Double A record 42.33 by Tamika McFarland of Evanston in 1997. And giving a good look at Christina Gutierrez.
Now remember, Christina is only a freshman and she already has one championship today. Let's see if that's catching, if she can get herself another one.
Kristen Sanders will be next to her. And they were right on top of each other as far as best time in the prelims, actually. I said Gutierrez had the better time, but they were within 2 100ths of each other. And
Again, fatigue plays a factor, so we'll see how they come out after this last curve.
Again, keep an eye on who heads for the first hurdle. In lane 3, getting out to a nice start, is Samira Blaine from Prospect High School. But right in the middle of the track, Crystal Sanders is off to a wonderful start. She has pulled even with the 2 runners to her right.
She looks good over the hurdles also.
Sanders of Thornwood is just blitzing everybody right now. She is well in front of everybody in the field. Now comes the hard part, getting your steps down as you come down that first straightaway. Sanders is letting this thing go away. One more hurdle to cross. See her getting a little bit choppy, timing her steps. She's making sure she gets over cleanly. She will win. Finishing second in lane 3 was Samira Blaine. Leah Kincaid of Springfield Southeast, another freshman. She finished third.
She did have to alter her steps a little bit there at the end. They became a little choppy, but she was going to make sure she got over that last hurdle. She had a good enough lead to win it.
I think that's exactly what it was, Lisa. I think she realized, you know what, I've got this thing in hand. The last thing I want to do is clip that last hurdle.
I'm not going to wipe out at this point.
I'm going to make sure I get over this last hurdle. And it is so difficult to time your steps and keep them at the right spacing with those last 2 hurdles. But Crystal Sanders wins it in an unofficial time of 43.92.
Great race.
The 1,600-meter run in Class A, and a lot of the usual suspects, let's put it that way, in this one. Stephanie Bone from Herscher had the best qualifying time. Her qualifying time was 5:15. Mindy Peterson, we'll get a chance to see her again. Erin Frakes from Rock Ridge, she had the second best qualifying time. Looking at the rest of the field, more names you're going to recognize, including Sarah Selby, who won the 2-mile just a little while ago. Leslie McHugh, who ran so well in the 2-mile, finished 4th in that race. Lindsay Zeiler, you might remember her, she finished 3rd in the cross-country meet back in the fall. So we have a lot of people, a lot of big race experience running in this one coming up next. The 1,600-meter record in Class A is currently held by Susie Tuffy of Peoria at 4:46.
Andrea Peters.
And we'll go to the starter for the start of this race.
Well, what we're saying is this race can go to just about anybody. I'll give you an order. Sarah Selby, Mindy Peterson, Lindsay Zeiler, Stephanie Bone, Stephanie Sims. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the State A Cross Country Championship. All 5 of those runners are in this race. And the chess match begins now because almost all these runners have run already today in the 3,200. And it's a matter of who recovers fastest and who wants to run what type of race. And there's so many possibilities of what can happen in this race. And it's going to be the same story when we see the Class AA 1,600-meter run in a couple minutes.
The thing to remember is that they did not run the 3,200 yesterday, only the 1,600. So like you said, it depends on who can recover from that race.
And running out in front right now, having a hard time picking up the mutter. It's Erin Frakes of Rock Ridge who has run out to the front. And running behind her is Leslie McHugh, who we saw at the front of the pack for most of the 3,200 meters. It could be very tactical, but then again, somebody might decide they just want to get out and run and see if anybody can catch them. But of course, I think one of the people you have to watch is Sarah Selby and see how she decides that she might want to run this race. And you see people running all over the place, moving into the outside lanes. And one of the reasons you're seeing that is you don't want to get stepped on in this first lap. And moving well out to the outside as they were coming up the front straightaway was Ashley Lucan from Delavan. She's a freshman, and she certainly didn't want to get trapped on the inside.
Stephanie Bone, who turned in the fastest preliminary time, is pretty far back in the pack at this point.
Sammy Sosa and the Cubs are going to hit the Rockies to battle Don Baylor's former team as the Cubs take a visit to see the Colorado Rockies. Play coverage starts in the game room with Eric Goodman and Dave Otto. The Cubs and Rockies coming up tomorrow at 7:30 on Fox Sports Net.
147.2.
And still a large lead pack as we come up on 600 meters gone.
Amanda McLeese.
Frakes continues to lead. And now you see Sarah Selby, who won the 3,200 meters just a little while ago. She decides that she wants to move into first place. Well, one of those races right now, there's not a whole lot happening. I mean, this is going to sound funny, but basically there's a bunch of people out there just running.
Exactly.
Doesn't seem like anybody's really too sure of what's going to develop.
Now the pack is starting to break up into groups, so we've got 3 little groups going.
Well, I think what a lot of people did is when they saw Sarah Selby move out to the front, they figured, you know what, if I'm going to be in that lead group and trying to make something happen, I had better get out there. And running in second place right now is Lindsay Zeiler from Massac County. She's seen this act before, so she wants to get out there. And then Frakes moves out there onto the shoulder of Sarah Selby, and we've seen her run there before, so she definitely has no problem with running half a step out from the inside rail.
They've run against each other before, so I'm sure they both know what each is capable of doing.
It has turned into a lead pack of 3 runners. Frakes from Rock Ridge, Sarah Selby from Shelbyville, and Lindsay Zeiler from Massac County.
Lindsay Zeiler's moved into second now.
46.6.
And Sarah Selby has dropped off the pace. Now there is such a thing as a race being too short for someone. And Sarah Selby, obviously she's good at a 3-mile course for cross country. She's obviously very good at 2 miles, but sometimes the race can get a little bit shorter than that. That may be a little bit of the case of what we see happening here. Plus the fact that shorter events, you see the track, they don't change. You constantly have to run the 2 mile before you run a mile. That's tough.
Absolutely.
Because back in my day, you ran the mile first, and the 2 mile came later in the race. And I always thought it was a lot easier to run it that way. Zeiler crosses the start-finish line first as we head to the final lap, and she has just flat taken control of this race.
Lindsay's only a sophomore.
Stephanie Sims, the freshman from Dwight, she's running 4th. Sarah Selby is 3rd. Erin Frakes is 2nd. Lindsay Zeiler now starting to run away as she heads into the final 300 meters.
She looks very strong at this point, the leader, Lindsay Zeiler.
Length of the stride is one of the things that you see that tells you sometimes all you need to know about how a runner is feeling on a particular day.
She looks real comfortable with her arms also, so I'd say she's pretty much in control at this point.
And there are 200 meters to go in this race, but I would also say that Zeiler won the battle of how to run the race, because it seemed to me that none of the other runners were really quite too sure what they wanted to do, as Lindsay Zeiler seems to have decided, you know what, I'm just going to go out and run a pace, I'm just going to let things happen, let things kind of develop, and lo and behold, she comes down to 50 meters to go, and she has a big lead.
Erin Frakes looks pretty strong for second at this point too, as she's keeping the lead on Sarah.
Lindsay Zeiler crosses the finish line. First unofficial time is 5:07. Finishing second is going to be Erin Frakes. And Selby ends up coming in 4th. And Mindy Peterson of Rock Ridge came in 3rd, excuse me, with a big push at the end.
She had a great effort at the end. Great effort by Mindy Peterson.
So Lindsay Zeiler claims a championship, so 3rd place in the cross-country championships in the fall, 1st place in the 1,600-meter run here in the spring. For more on the field events, let's go back to Bob Lanigan.
Well, Jim and Lisa, the Kentucky Derby has never seen a field as crowded as the Class A high jump is right now. Let me give you the background. During yesterday's cut height of 5'2", only 7 jumpers cleared the bar. They dropped it 2 inches to 5 foot, and 14 more cleared the bar, leaving 21 jumpers qualified for today's final. Sit back and relax. This could take some time. Needless to say, there were a great many misses, and with all 21 competitors getting 3 attempts, it took a great many hours. But in the end, the top 2 qualifiers from Friday's prelims were the final 2 standing. Marietta Leslie of Sparta cleared 5-6, as did Danny Miller of Washburn. But every jump counts in this event, and when the counting was done, Leslie did it in less attempts, and she takes home the title. What do you think the reasons were for so many people not getting over 5 or 5.2?
I think it was probably mainly the cold, because a lot of people don't like jumping in cold weather. They get stiff and stuff, so.
Didn't seem to affect you with the gold medal going around your neck.
No, to be honest, I'd rather jump in this weather than when it's hot and sunny. For some reason, I always jump better.
I ended up with second with more misses, but I mean, she was a senior, and I'm happy for her when the senior beats me. I mean, it's fine.
And so the senior beats the sophomore, but Danny Miller has 2 more years to try and capture her gold. Denise Jones, Megan Reese, and Brittany Wendell round out the Fab 5. The field for the Class AA high jump, a much more traditional 10 jumpers, but the same backdrop in regard to the qualifying height. 5'3", that's it. All 10 jumpers made it at that height, so it's a wide open field. Chris Archibald of Belleville West, however, is seated number 1. She cleared that height in the least amount of attempts. You got to consider her the favorite at this point. Only 3 jumpers would improve on their qualifying height, and of the trio, Archibald was head and shoulders above the rest. Chris cleared 5'9", while the other 2 topped out at 5'5". Junior Chris Archibald of Belleville West is your 2A state champion. Laura Maitoka of Conant second, Jenna Carmen, Kristen Swanson, Jordan Studzinski, and Nikki Friel all going home with some hardware.
Back to the track we go now, the 1,600-meter run for the AA girls. Ann Gaffigan won the 3,200 meters. She has the top qualifying time in this event, 4 minutes, 57 seconds. Karen Wartko from Belvedere, her father holds the boys' record in the 1,600-meter run. Rachel Endress did not run in the 3,200 meters. She could be a factor in this race. All sorts of other people with great pedigrees. Rebecca Mitchell, 5th in the cross-country meet in the fall, 7th in 1998. She's entered in this race. Delilah DiCrescenzo was in the 3,200 meter, 2nd in the cross-country meet last fall. She's in this one. Maria Cicero had the best qualifying time in the 3,200 meters. She's back for this one. And Katie Hartman, the defending cross-country champion, she's in this race as well. And basically the field is split about 50-50 as to which runners did run the 3,200 meters and did not run the 3,200 meters. But Ann Gaffigan with a chance to win both distance events today. If she can pull off the win in the 1,600, and we have people a little antsy at the start once again. Was there a problem with the gun once again? Now we are ready. Shelley McBride of Crete Monee ran 4:49 in 1985. That is the state record. So you may see more of a tactical race here because many of the runners and many of the contenders have already run the 3,200 meters. And just to recap what Ann Gaffigan did in the 3,200 meters, she did what she is starting out to do right now. That is, let everybody else kind of run to the front and then just kind of cruise along and pick people off. Although she makes a good effort there of not getting caught up in the traffic at the back of the pack. And you would suspect that somebody who didn't run the 3,200 meter relay, or 3,200 meters, might want to try and just see if they can press the pace and see what happens if they can just get out in front and run. And right now that's Rebecca Mitchell of Geneva. Jenny Illig of O'Fallon is running 2nd, but Rebecca Mitchell has decided to set the pace here. Ann Gaffigan running 3rd right now. I really believe that what Ann Gaffigan wants to do, if she wants to win this race, is just be careful. Don't let the leaders get too far away, but the last thing, if I were her, I wouldn't want to lead this race any time before, say, the last 300 meters.
She looks pretty comfortable, just settled in where she's at. She did not want to let them get away from her, however, because they started to pull out and have a little bit of a gap there.
The year Ann Gaffigan won the state cross-country title, which was 1998, Rebecca Mitchell was 7th, and then Mitchell was 5th last year. Mitchell is first. Jenny Illig of O'Fallon is second as we cross 600 meters. Get your fix of baseball news, highlights, and analysis on Fox Sports Net Baseball Today. It's a 1/2 hour program devoted entirely to Major League Baseball. Catch Baseball Today weekdays at 5 on Fox Sports Net. And you know what? Why don't you stick around tonight after all this is over with and after the National Sports Report, because you can catch Sports Geniuses at 11. And Gaffigan has decided to move into second place. Rebecca Mitchell continues to lead. Mitchell is a senior, Gaffigan is a senior, Illig is a senior. And they are running 1, 2, 3.
Got the veterans at the head of the pack.
And as we head into the back stretch on lap number 3, let's take a look at the AA standings right now. Morgan Park, they are in pretty good shape. They do have a couple of runners going in the 200. They also have a relay coming up. And Via McKinnon, we will see her one more time in the 400 meters, but Morgan Park looking like they're in pretty good shape. In this race, Rebecca Mitchell leading down the backstretch, and Gaffigan trails by about 15 meters. And Rebecca Mitchell doing what we suspected she might do. That is just get out in front and try and run away from everybody. And she is doing so far.
Rebecca Mitchell of Geneva in Kane County. We have
if you've ever run 3,200 and the 1,600 in the same day, you can understand how difficult this is, and you can understand what an advantage it is to not have run the longer race when you get into the 1,600 meters. And Rebecca Mitchell not only has that going for her, but she's taking full advantage of it. Maria Cicero of York has moved into second place, and running third right now is Lana MacNider of Schaumburg. But it's Rebecca Mitchell's show right now as she heads for the back stretch one more time. Boy, I'm really surprised at Katie Hartman. She's fallen well off the paces, running 11th out of the 12 runners right now. And again, as Lisa pointed out, the runners do not have to run a prelim for the 3,200, but they do have to run a prelim for this race. So sometimes the qualifying times can be a little bit deceiving because they're only running one race, this one in the prelims. Rebecca Mitchell of Geneva. Top 10 finishes in the cross-country meet the last couple of years. This time she's going to cross the finish line first.
She's well in command at this point, coming off the back curve to the straightaway.
You have to applaud a distance runner anytime they have a strategy that works perfectly. And that's exactly what the case was for Rebecca Mitchell. She just got out and ran hard from the word go. Wanted to see if anybody who had a little bit less in the tank could catch her. The answer is no. Unofficial time, 4:57. Finishing second, Maria Cicero. Finishing third from Schaumburg is Lana MacNider. And then coming in fourth was Jenny Illig of O'Fallon. We are getting set to fire the starting gun for the 200-meter dash, Class A. In the middle of the track in lane 5, the top qualifier, Tiffany Bishop of Moment. She is also the defending champion in this event. 25.96 was her qualifying time. Darla Hannon of Vienna, we'll see her again. She is going to be in lane 4. Gina Rollins from Olympia is going to be out in lane 8. The 200-meter dash record, 24.90 by Shelley Smith of Wethersfield in 1992.
The important thing here, Jim, is to remember that they cannot hold their pace in this race. They have to accelerate through the entire race. Off of the curve, they need to continue to accelerate, and they need to finish strong.
Have to turn that little inside lean into forward power when you come off that turn.
Absolutely. You can't just get out there and hold it. You got to get out there and keep going.
So, see Darla Hanna, she's to the right, wearing number 929.
There's Tiffany Bishop, your defending state champion with 5:06.
So Darla Hannon has the advantage of being able to see exactly what's in front of her. But one thing, Lisa and I were talking about this a moment ago, How many times in this meet today have we seen people from the outside lanes come across and either win or place very high, which you don't see very often. We've seen it a lot today, and with that in mind, you just might want to keep an eye on Gina Rollins of Olympia out in lane 8.
Our eyes are usually on 4, 5, and 6, but boy, we've been seeing some come out of 7 and 8 today.
Exactly. Boy, everybody out really slow out of the blocks. The gun went off. It was almost like a delayed reaction before everybody came out of the blocks. Hannon and Bishop in the middle of the track, running the best right now. Bishop appears to have the lead. Erica Meyer comes off the turn nicely. She's running second, but it's Bishop and Hannon running 1-2. Hannon ahead by about half a step. Hannon is now pulled away by about 2 strides. Hannon is going to win, and for second place, it looks like it might have been Erica Meyer just out leading Tiffany Bishop, but a wonderful track meet today for Darla Hannon of Vienna.
As they came around the curve, Hannon just took over. She really accelerated, as we talked about earlier, all the way through. She continues to accelerate. She's not just happy with the pace. She's moving on.
25.58, the winning time for Darla Hannon. She becomes a champion again at this year's IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. Now the field for the AA 200-meter dash. One more time, we get a look at Adia McKinnon. She'll be in the middle of the track. She had the top qualifying time, 24.78. Maybe a chance at another state record, 23.7 by Dora Spearman of Blue Island Eisenhower. That was back in 1981. Because Damaris Parchment is in lane 2 for Morgan Park and Tiffany Kennedy in lane 4, Morgan Park will, not that they don't already have it, but they'll put the seal on a state championship in this event.
I agree with you, Jim.
So congratulations to Morgan Park Academy as they did everything they had to do today. But the individual story, Adia McKinnon, can she get one more gold medal and one more record in the 200-meter dash? Once again, the time we are keeping an eye on, 23.7. If Adia McKinnon can get that, she'll have a second state record in the meet. Adia McKinnon, she's out in front by a good 5 meters as they come down the forward stretch. Will she be able to get a state record? Adia McKinnon across the finish line first, no problem. Watch the time. She's not going to quite get it. 24.1, the unofficial time. But Adia McKinnon wins 4 gold medals at this year's IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. She had a part in 40 points today for the HF Vikings.
I think she's pretty happy, Jim, that her day's over. She was reaching back for both hamstrings after that race. I think it's been a long day with this chilly weather. Boy, did she look good out of the block, so, and coming around that curve, she looks really strong.
Adia McKinnon on her way not only into the record books here in the state of Illinois, but to UCLA next year, where she will run in the Bruins' fine track and field program.
What a tremendous day. 4 golds for Adia.
1,600-meter relay for Class A. And in this event, we will see the championship decided. Because St. Joseph Ogden had to finish 4th or higher in the 1,600-meter relay to win the state championship away from Erie. And St. Joseph Ogden had the 4th best qualifying time. Now, due to the length of today's event, we're going to take you right to an exciting finish. Laura Hodel of Eureka brings the baton home first. So the Hornets, they get first place. Whitney McComas of Heritage will cross second. Watch what happens at the tail end. St. Joseph Ogden ran in 3rd place for most of the race. They were passed right at the tail end by Wheaton St. Francis, but St. Joseph Ogden, they did get 4th, and they win the state championship by 1.5 points over Erie. But congratulations to the Eureka Hornets. They're usually a force in the distance events at the state meet. They finally get a first place in the final event of the A finals. Laura Hodel bringing it home. This is the 1,600-meter relay for Class AA. Morgan Park is going to see if they can finish out on top in not only the meet, but also in this event, they will start in the 3rd position. Morgan Park will win the state title. We already know that. But there is one more thing to run for. Thornwood in lane 5. They have the best qualifying time in this event. If they win it, they would pass HF and finish in second place. Morgan Park, lane 5, or lane 3. Thornton, lane 4. Thornwood in lane 5. Kelly Johnson, a senior, running the first leg for Thornwood. The first leg for Morgan Park, April Lowry. Obviously, Morgan Park, if you're going to win a state title, you want to go out in style. You want to try and finish first. That's what Morgan Park is shooting for right now. And Morgan Park making up their stagger. So is Thornwood.
Thornwood looks awfully good right now.
Thornwood needs first. It sounds kind of odd. They need first to finish second. And a marvelous, marvelous opening leg being run by Kelly Johnson right now. Kelly Johnson has already made up all her staggers. She's clearly in first place in spite of the fact that the handoff still comes staggered. Janine Ford, another senior, is going to run leg number 2 for Thornwood. Although Johnson looks like she might be tying up just a little bit coming down the straightaway.
Get into those fresh legs.
And she does, and does cleanly.
Thornwood's team's full of seniors. They've got 3 seniors and 1 sophomore.
Janine Ford of Thornwood running out in first, and just hazarding a guess, Ariel Hughes of Morgan Park appears to be running in second. They can now cut into the pole. And it is indeed Thornwood first, Morgan Park second. At least for now. Evanston moving into third. Janine Ford of Thornwood has opened up about a 15-meter lead, and she's holding it quite nicely. Big long stride for Janine Ford. She makes the turn for the last 100 meters in leg number 2 of our final event, the 1,600-meter relay. Colette Walt, a sophomore, will now take the baton for Thornwood. Very quickly, as we head into the third leg of the 1,600-meter relay, let's give you a look at the Class AA standings as we compete in the final event of the day. We mentioned Morgan Park, they're going to win it again. Not quite as going away as they did last year, but they will indeed win it. If Thornwood scores 10 points, they would then pass HF and move into second place. Back to the track we go. Thornwood running first. Running second, Evanston. Third, Morgan Park. Colette Walt holding on to the lead that she was given by Janine Ford. And to tell you the truth, she's making it look pretty easy. 500 meters to go for Thornwood. Colette Walton just trying to finish it off. You can see her fighting it over the last 25 meters or so. Jennifer King, a senior, will take the baton. 400 meters stand between Thornwood and finishing second to Morgan Park in the 2000 IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. Thornwood, Evanston, Thornton, Morgan Park, that's your top 4.
Evanston's looking pretty strong. I don't know if they can close that gap or not.
Coretta Evans, a freshman, is running the anchor leg for Evanston. But she's got a lot of distance to make up, and she's starting to run out of real estate. 200 meters to go. You see the unofficial time down in the lower left-hand corner of your screen.
Jennifer King's stride looks awfully good.
3:44.9 is the state record for this event, East St. Louis Lincoln, 1984. That won't be challenged. But for Thornwood, 10 points in this event gives them second in the meet overall. Thornwood with a nice performance in the final event. They will finish first. Can Morgan Park end up second? That's Kalila Sneed. She will bring in Morgan Park second. Evanston third. Thornton finishes fourth.
That's quite a gutsy race by Kalila Sneed, the senior from Morgan Park.
Wheaton North fifth. Unofficial time 3:51.692. So your final team standings in Class AA, they will go Morgan Park, Thornwood, and HF. We will come back. We will give you the final team standings from the 2000 IHSA Girls Championship after this timeout on Fox Sports Net. by about the narrowest margin you can imagine in a track meet, the St. Joseph Ogden girls win the A title by just 1.5 points. We'll tell you more about them in a second. It's time now for our Pepsi moment. And is there any doubt in your mind that it comes from Adia McKinnon? She wins 4 events today in the 400-meter dash. She shatters the state record, 52.479. That is our Pepsi moment. And in Class A, the final standings go like this. St. Joseph Ogden wins the state title by 1.5 points over Erie Co-op. Rock Ridge comes in third with 40 points. In AA, Morgan Park, they won it with numbers and with performances. 72 points. They win the title. Thornwood comes in second by winning the final event of the meet. HF, they finish third with 47 points. At this time, Fox Sports Net would like to thank the Illinois High School Association for making this championship event possible. For Lisa Ferry and all of our Fox Sports Net crew, I'm Jim Blaney saying so long. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net and Intersport Television.